So if you had to look at my entire career as my 15 minutes of fame, you could potentially say that our former rental car company's 15 minutes of fame was when Justin Bieber got arrested in our yellow Lamborghini. So this goes back to, and I have to look up the dates, but at this point it's all a blur, but probably 2012, 2013, we had at the time been operating one of the largest exotic car rental businesses in South Florida, which as a young guy was definitely a fun, exciting business, but it was like running a small hotel. I mean, you literally were on call all the time. You were dealing with celebrities, hip hop stars, soccer players, and I can't tell you the disasters that we had. A soccer player wrecking a 458 on the causeway and leaving it. I have hundreds of rental car stories that ended up in some form of stress. And it's probably one of the reasons that I left the industry. Now that I have a family and I have a child, thank God I'm no longer in the rental car industry, because it really is high tension, high stress. And yes, there's stress in curated, but the stress is different, and you're dealing with issues that you hope people are understandable about solving. Also curated, the beauty of this business is I truly am doing something I love, where I think in the rental car business I felt like I was just some flashy guy. So I get a call, and it's probably 1 a.m. and one of Justin Bieber's security guys and a concierge that I know, his name is Terry, said, "Hey, we need 2 cars right now for Justin Bieber and his team." So I said, "Listen, it's like really late. Okay, let me figure this out." So I call another one of our employees, and I said, "Hey, you're going to help me. We got to go drop off some cars." So at the time, I vividly remember he actually wanted our Aventador, but it was either on a rental. I was just a little worried about giving our Aventador out to a young celebrity renter. So I did have some apprehension already. And I basically said, okay, I'm going to give him a yellow Lamborghini Gallardo and a Ferrari 16M, which, you know, essentially probably the 16M was the worst car imaginable as a rental car. I mean, it was a race car made for the street. It was a limited production car, one of 499, I believe. But at the time, I just thought it was so cool. They had not gone up in value yet. They were pretty cheap. They were around $200,000. So I was excited to have this like really sort of cool enthusiast car as part of our rental fleet. So we head over, and it was Justin Bieber was actually at, and his security and his whole entourage was at Little Wayne's skate park, which at the time was this building in Wynwood in downtown Miami. And we pull up, and now it's God knows how late it is. I don't remember the exact time. And we're essentially there, and we're hanging out, and you know, I'm talking to his security, and all of a sudden Justin Bieber comes out. And while I was talking to his security, I did realize that Justin Bieber's license, I guess he didn't have a license, or his license was suspended. His security told me, don't worry, he just wants the cars out and about. They were going to take responsibility for the cars. They were going to handle the cars, and not to worry. So I get to meet Justin Bieber, who was a nice young man. He was very polite. I don't remember if he had a shirt on at the time. I think he had no shirt on. His boxers were showing. He was going through a different phase in his career. And we took a very iconic photo of, it was a group of us. I was there, and Justin Bieber was there. And you'll see at the end of the story why that photo becomes somewhat famous. So he takes some photos in the car, and all I asked them to do, I didn't want payment. I basically asked them for the rental, I want Justin Bieber to post on his Instagram and tag Lulavi, which was the name of our rental car company. And at the time, that was one of the things we specialized in. We were great working with celebrities, getting tags, and it built our following. At one point, I think we had 100,000 followers. So I keep asking, please make sure we get tagged. Please make sure we get tagged. So I leave them with the cars. I know the security well. I know the concierge very well. And I go back home. I'm in bed, and it was probably 30 minutes later that he tags us. And he posts this picture of him and his buddy. I think it was just him in front of the 2 cars, and they're like angled, and our Instagram explodes. 1,000 new followers, 5,000 new followers, 10,000 new followers, and we're talking in minutes. So I'm all amped up, I'm all excited. Ends up, I go to bed, and probably about 2 hours later, I get another phone call. My phone's blowing up. So I wake up, I pick up the phone, and it's a security. And already I'm thinking, uh-oh, this is not good. And the security goes, John, we screwed up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like, what happened in the car? Like, did he get in an accident? Is someone hurt? I go, is everybody okay? What happened? He goes, no, the cars are fine. Everybody's okay. Justin's getting arrested. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, they're going to impound your cars. So I don't remember how I hung up, but I jumped into my car and I flew to where they were. And they were actually right before, off Pine Tree Boulevard, like going to Fountain Blue. They were right at that intersection there. So I pull up, I jump out of the car, and I believe I'm pretty good with people. So, my immediate reaction was be very polite to the cops. And I said, hi, officer, these are my cars. They literally were like ready to throw me on the ground. They're like, step away, get away from the cars. And I'm like, no. They said, we're impounding the cars. I go, no, I'm the legal owner. They were not hearing from me. And at the time, I could see, I'll never forget, the yellow Lamborghini was up front, and Justin was being pulled out of the car. And then his friend was still in the red 16M. So automatically, I'm like, this is not good. This is a disaster. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, though, this is going to be a huge press opportunity. Like, no one's hurt. No one's really getting in that much trouble. Let's see what happens. So I was a little upset because the cops actually got in the cars and drove them away, which I didn't think they should have done. Who knows what could have happened? A little irresponsible if you ask me. But I went back home. I went to bed. 7 a.m., my phone starts going insane. I'm being contacted by all of my friends, all of my family, all of the international press, CNN, MTV, Fox News, ABC, NBC, and the story has broken wide. TMZ, you name it. Everyone was calling me because the cars were registered to the company, and everybody was calling the company, which was ringing my cell phone. And it was the wildest thing I've ever seen. So I pull up to our office, and we have this courtyard area, and I'm like a little sort of shaking. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? So at this point, my only concern is getting my cars back, first and foremost. And I go inside our office, and as I'm there, there's press outside. There's actually television trucks outside of our showroom. And I tell everyone, back up. I felt pretty cool. And I walk inside, and I lock the door. And I'm like, man, I don't even know what to do. So I start calling friends in the industry. I actually reach out to Scooter Braun, who was his manager at the time. And I'm just trying to, how do I do the right thing for him? And really, no one was giving me too much advice besides a few PR people that say, hey, listen, don't they say anything about the situation, but you can show them the cars. So we had this sort of interesting idea that it was just an idea to pick up the cars, but it ended up becoming the way that all the press was dragged to our facility. And what happened was our flatbeds went to pick up the cars from the impound yard, which was right in South Beach. And as they're loading the cars, there's helicopters over the impound yard actually filming this scene. And what did the helicopters in the news do? They followed the cars and the flatbeds all the way to the office, where at one point we had about 30 to 40 international, local media outside the office. We were getting calls from all over the world. And I was just trying to be a respectful, I guess you could say, businessman and not say anything about Justin Bieber, but say, yes, these are the cars. This is our showroom. This is Lou La Vie. Basically, you can meet us. And I didn't comment about the situation. So I opened the doors, and our place was packed. Lou La Vie started getting written up in international press. The Bieber story kept getting bigger. And what we realized at the time is that we had all the GPS records. And that was one of the first things, I think, that morning that I did was check the GPS records. So why did he get arrested? What happened? And I think he got arrested for reckless driving, and then he admitted to smoking marijuana or something like that. But the funny part was that he wasn't actually speeding. You look at the GPS and it's like 38 miles per hour, 41 miles per hour, 26 miles per hour. So I realized what I was sitting on was gold. And I immediately called Scooter Braun again, and I said, hey, I just checked GPS records. I didn't want to say anything about Justin. I would like to build a relationship, I know we have mutual friends. I'm going to send you everything. So I sent him everything. Somebody actually leaked that to TMZ. That made another big story. And probably it was 1 p.m., everybody was there, CNN, MTV, and then I get a call from the Florida State's attorney. And they're like, we hear you have these GPS records. He's like, is it true? I said, yeah, it's true. So automatically, we've got Roy Black, all these major attorneys, and everybody's calling us for these GPS records. I'm like, I don't know what, I'm just going to give everybody everything. And ended up, it was insane press for us. I mean, if you're an SEO geek, the backlinks were priceless. If you're a branding guy, I mean, that branding was priceless. We definitely milked it for a few weeks. I tried to be respectful of Justin. I never heard from them again. I never heard from Scooter Braun thanking us for GPS records. The reckless driving charges, I think, were dropped. But it was definitely one of those surreal moments because I can't imagine being a celeb like that. And this was at, like, the height of his career, too. So it's definitely cool. As a side note, I tried to sell the car on eBay immediately after as the Justin Bieber arrest car. I just got a bunch of laughs and jokes and didn't actually sell it. I think it ended up selling, I sold it at auction for like $120,000. But definitely a cool story and definitely a 15 minutes of fame for Lou Levy.